Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the 6 motorcycles that many people will likely end up regretting buying in 2026. Number 6. Triumph Bonneville Bobber. The Triumph Bonneville Bobber rolls into 2026 with only slight cosmetic tweaks, and that pretty much sets the tone for the entire bike. It still carries that timeless appearance, but once you consider the price it demands, the lack of meaningful improvements makes it feel outdated. Riders in the USA who want a mix of style, comfort, and everyday usability quickly notice that the Bobber leans far too heavily on looks, while neglecting the things that actually matter on the road. The engine gives off a smooth, pleasant sound, yet the true power delivery doesn't match the bike's weight or size. At low speeds, it feels dull, and in thick traffic, it asks for more throttle input than you'd expect. Even when you finally reach open roads, the performance remains limited for something within this price bracket. The extra weight also becomes noticeable when maneuvering through tight areas or leaning into slow corners. The price tag makes these flaws stand out even more. New units often get close to $14,000, while used ones still run between $8,000 and $10,000. At those numbers, most riders expect stronger acceleration, better comfort, and more refined manners on the road. Maintenance also tends to cost more since the parts aren't exactly cheap. Comfort is another issue for the Bobber. The solo seat looks fantastic, but long rides become tiring quickly. The firm suspension and short travel send every bump straight into the rider. By 2026, the Triumph Bonneville Bobber feels trapped between its high price and its real-world performance, delivering less than what the money suggests. If you're seeking a cruiser that handles commuting easily, saves money over time, and stays smooth on mixed surfaces, this one will likely leave you disappointed. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Pan America. The Harley-Davidson Pan America enters 2026 with a couple of light tech updates and some mild software refinements, but nothing significant enough to change the opinions riders already have. The updates are minimal, the weight is still high, and the motorcycle still struggles to match the refinement and balance American buyers expect at this price. To a lot of people, the Pan America seems like a motorcycle that tried stepping into a fiercely competitive segment, but never fully found its footing. The engine looks impressive on the spec sheet, yet real-world riding tells a different side of the story. At low speeds, the motor can feel jerky, and in warmer regions, heat builds quickly around the legs. When you push harder, the heavy chassis becomes the main issue. The price is what hurts the most. New models sit near $20,000, and used ones usually fall between $12,000 and $15,000. That puts it up against bikes that ride smoother, weigh less, and have better long-term reliability. Repair bills also tend to be pricey, with parts and service driving annual cost higher than owners expected. Comfort brings mixed results as well. The seat height is tall, leaving shorter riders stretched. The suspension can feel harsh on rough pavement, and the reach to the bars becomes tiring on long trips. By 2026, the Harley-Davidson Pan America feels like a bike that asks for a premium price, requires extra effort, and provides less comfort than buyers hoped for. Number 4. Indian Scout Bobber. The Indian Scout Bobber moves into 2026 with nothing more than minor color revisions, which disappoints many riders in the USA. It still looks aggressive and sharp, but style alone doesn't fix the long-time complaints riders have been mentioning for years. Without real updates in comfort, heat control, or overall ride smoothness, the Scout Bobber begins to appear dated beside newer rivals. The engine offers a good sound and quick initial response, but daily riding exposes the weak points. Heat radiates around the legs, especially in hotter states, and stop-and-go traffic makes everything worse. On the highway, the bike feels stiff and sends small vibrations through the bars. Its low stance also results in scraping during tighter turns, which limits rider confidence. The pricing doesn't help either. New models usually sit around $13,000, while pre-owned ones fall between $7,000 and $9,000. At those prices, riders expect better comfort, smoother handling, and a more polished overall experience. Parts and service for the Scout Bobber cost more than many expect, pushing yearly expenses up. For riders on a specific budget, that becomes a constant issue. By 2026, the Indian Scout Bobber feels like a motorcycle that hasn't evolved with the market. You pay a premium, receive a harsher ride, and the long-term value simply doesn't match the investment. Number 3. BMW R18. The BMW R18 enters 2026 with only slight trim refreshes but nothing that addresses the major concerns USA riders have pointed out since the model launched. It still catches attention with its huge presence, but that same size is also the reason many owners end up disappointed. The lack of real progress in comfort, handling, and heat control leaves it feeling stagnant. While rival brands push ahead with smart improvements, the engine remains big and torquey, yet the R18's weight holds it back in everyday riding. At low speeds, the bike feels heavy and slow to respond. In dense traffic, it needs constant effort just to stay steady. On the highway, the engine performs fine, but vibrations through the bars and pegs cause fatigue on long rides. The pricing is where regret settles in. New R18s can reach around $17,000, while used units usually stay near $10,000 to $13,000. At that cost, riders want lighter handling, cheaper maintenance, and better long-distance comfort. Instead, the R18 brings expensive parts, steep service pricing, and insurance costs that push budgets even further. Many owners sell the bike early because running expenses exceed their expectations. By 2026, the BMW R18 feels like a motorcycle that demands more money, more effort, and more patience than most riders are willing to give. Number 2. Kawasaki Eliminator. The Kawasaki Eliminator moves into 2026 with a clean, simple design, but that's exactly where the issues begin. USA buyers who take one home usually expect a relaxed cruiser with decent comfort and an easygoing personality. Instead, the bike quickly feels more limited than its first impression suggests. Kawasaki added a few visual touches this year, but nothing significant that improves the ride or addresses earlier complaints. The engine is lightweight and wakes up eagerly, but actual riding exposes its shortcomings. At low speeds, the power band feels narrow, meaning the bike needs more throttle than expected just to keep up in traffic. On highways, the pull fades early, leaving riders wanting more power for passing and climbing. Taller riders often feel cramped, while shorter ones may find the reach slightly awkward. The price also becomes a source of regret. New units are around $6,000, which seems fair at first, but the value feels lower once compared to competitors. Used ones still run between $4,000 and $5,000. For this amount, riders usually expect smoother suspension, better comfort, and a stronger mid-range. Parts pricing climbs faster than many anticipate since some components aren't cheap, and annual maintenance can feel unusually high for what the bike delivers. By 2026, the Kawasaki Eliminator ends up being a motorcycle that looks promising on paper but leaves owners wanting more once the miles stack up. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster arrives in 2026 looking stylish at first glance. But once you look past the appearance, the flaws show up quickly. USA riders who use it daily are often surprised at how many small issues build up over time. Harley included minor software tweaks this year, but nothing that fixes the main problems riders noted in earlier versions. The engine reacts quickly, yet feels nervous in traffic. The throttle becomes jumpy when navigating tight spaces, turning city riding into a stressful task. Heat around the legs and tank shows up early, especially in warmer regions. At highway speeds, the motor feels ready, but the front end stays twitchy over rough sections, and the bike never fully settles into a relaxed cruising feel. Money is another reason buyers regret it. New Nightsters often get close to $13,000, and used ones remain in the $9,000 to $11,000 range. For that price, riders want a motorcycle that works well both in daily traffic and on weekend rides. Instead, the Nightster brings repair costs that rise quicker than expected, and parts pricing that pushes yearly expenses upward. Comfort is where many lose patience. The seat sits low but offers very little padding, causing early lower back fatigue. By 2026, the Harley-Davidson Nightster becomes a motorcycle that photographs beautifully but wears you out once real miles begin to add up. And that wraps up the video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more upcoming content.